63, and I think that's generous at 7:30 on September 25th. And somehow, despite temperatures near 60 for 3 days in a row, the temperature inside of the house is still 68 degrees. How is that happening, T-Rex? Are we generating enough body heat to keep the inside of the house warm enough that we don't have to turn on the heat yet? There it is. Wind is still coming from the northeast. Steve, are you coming out today? Yes. Day 3 of this High Barometer Nor'easter. Day 3 of the lean cold rule for trying to find out who's going to get the heaviest rain in effect. Lean cold rule in effect. I'm going to try and explain those things. All right, so what's going on today? First of all, you got to look at the radar. I just started laughing when I looked at the radar and put it in motion this morning. Linda pointed out there's some curious air moving from high to low pressure. And that applies at all levels of the atmosphere, by the way. All right, so the radar. The rain in southern New England, Connecticut, Rhode Island, moving toward the left, towards the west. Then the rain in central New England, or north-central Massachusetts, moving from left to right. And then the rain in southern New Hampshire moving from north to south. To say we have some differential advection, that is, air coming from all different directions with all different temperatures, is an understatement. How do you predict where it's going to go? Well, ultimately, that little bit of rain coming from the north is going to win out. And it's going to turn into a heavier band of rain, and it's all going to push off to the south by tomorrow morning. Maybe. Don't you love it when the weatherman says maybe, possibly? What's happening right now, look at this Weather Prediction Center surface map. And you see that little blue triangle near Portland, Maine? That's a decaying cold front that's been gradually pushing in over the last 2 days with an even stronger high-pressure system replacing the old one that left through the Gulf of Maine. We have a new one, a 1035, 1036, stronger high-pressure system coming in from southeastern Canada. At the same time, the remnant of Tropical Storm Ophelia is now up to 1015 millibars south of New England. That's moving off ever so slowly to the east. So we have a new push of colder and ultimately drier air coming in from the north, which is going to cause this wind from the northeast to increase in intensity this afternoon and tonight. So yesterday we didn't really have white caps. Now the white caps are building, and we're going to have winds probably up around 25 or 30 miles an hour here, the south end of Boston Harbor down to Cape Cod for later today, tonight, tomorrow. Now that push of air from Canada is also drier, and so the cloud deck is going to thin out, but the air is going to continue to come in off of the ocean. So that means we're probably still going to have some low clouds coming at us, but I do think this is probably the last day of the precipitation. It's not raining at my house, but there are a lot of elements of moderate to heavy rain around southern New England right now. Should we make a run for it and see if we can check the rain gauge? You want to come, Steve? Let's go check the rain gauge. Oh, it is raining a little bit, just a tiny bit, but you can see that the ground has dried out a little bit here. So that's the beginning of the drier air, but it's also colder air, so colder air is going to wring out the moisture. That's going to get me to the lean cold rule in a minute. So just 0.41, 0.4. Yesterday there was some moderate to heavy rain at times. I'm going to come down here and see if I can duck below the wind and do the rest of my explanation right here. Yeah, let's just try and hide right here. I'm expecting a new microphone in the mail today, by the way. You'll watch those sailboats go up and down. So the temperature on Mount Washington this morning is down to 39 degrees, and the wind is from the east. So that's not quite as ocean influenced now on Mount Washington. So that's going to be the beginning of the drier air coming in. And as the barometer goes up today, I think the rain does shut down from north to south, but it could increase in intensity. Having trouble with the wind. I'm going to try and go up here, not hurt myself. These hydrangeas did not bloom. Oh yeah, this is much better right here. I'll show your boat, Kevin. Tempo. Yeah, so boats are probably going to be coming out of the water this week, I would say. Kind of disappointing when you leave your boat in the water and you end up with a weekend like last weekend on Saturday with that lee going by, and then this past couple of days, not very good boating. But the weather is going to get better. Oh, always distracted. Just found a friend, escaped. You go back over there into the worm farm. Got a slug too. There's slugs everywhere. Oh my goodness. Hard to focus on the forecast with all these little creatures and all this fun fauna. Okay, passing 5 minutes. Can I explain the lean cold rule? When you get the warm and humid air from, say, Tropical Storm Ophelia being pushed into the colder air, the warmer air near the south coast can hold more of the H2O as vapor. But when that H2O vapor goes into the even colder air to the north, your heavier precipitation ends up to the north, and we can see that on the rainfall estimate from the radar here out of New York City. All the guidance had the heaviest rain in Connecticut near New York City. Inches of rain were forecast for the last couple days, but instead we got the heavier rain in the colder air in the Berkshires near the Vermont border. I don't know why the weather models can't figure this out. It happens so often, and it causes our snow forecasts. Generally, that's where I get more disturbed by it, was when we blow our snow forecasts. And it ends up being heavier snow where we thought it would be lighter. There was one situation last year in Jay Peak, I remember, where it was supposed to be 6 inches of snow, and it ended up being 26 inches of snow. And that's what happens. That's what I mean by lean cold rule. And the high barometer just means the wind is more generated from the high pressure in southeastern Canada. Wind is air moving from that high pressure system, which is getting stronger, to the low pressure system south of New England, which is getting weaker. 10-15 is the remnant of Ophelia. Now, if we look at this wind pattern for the week going forward, you can see that the colors actually increase in intensity a little bit today, tomorrow, and then start decreasing in intensity, but the air continues to come in. Whoa! Sorry, I don't know where they came from. It is the season of birds gathering and moving around and migrating. That's fun. Sorry. So we'll get out to about Wednesday or so, and now the wind is decreasing a bit, but it's still from the east-northeast. And then Thursday, Friday, now this is when we were going to be threatened by another system trying to form off the mid-Atlantic. It's still there, but it looks like it wants to stay south of us. That is not a done deal at all. So what happens when you get, the wind is still out of the east-northeast over the weekend. Then next Monday, now the wind may be coming from the west. So we may warm it up next Sunday, Monday, when the wind comes in from the west. It's not exactly going to be a cold air mass after tonight, tomorrow. But the fact that the wind's going to come in off the ocean is going to keep us cooler near the ocean. I think inland we'll probably have cool nights. I think there may be a frost in northern Maine tonight, and then warming up during the days. But as Linda in Princeton points out, trying to work outdoors, the ground is so saturated. When you get these clear, cold nights, you're going to have the dew in the grass that's not going to evaporate till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Good point last week, Linda, with that. Oh, yeah, and with this dry air, clear sky, didn't see this coming last night. Again. You know, late yesterday we started seeing the words come out of the people on Twitter that notify us about these things, that there might be a northern lights, but that was really just tremendous. And E-Weather got it off the NEOC cam. Colton Flint was in northern Vermont, so they knew to look. Good job, guys. Thanks. Not sure if that's going to happen again tonight, but we are going to end up with drying weather. So as far as trying to plan what's going to happen, you can only really trust the 12 to 24-hour forecast. It does look like we're going to be a little bit more gray on Tuesday and Wednesday than the guidance had it last couple days. So if we can get a gray Tuesday and Wednesday, that increases the odds of the weekend turning nicer. And if you believe this Euro 14 day for Boston, that whole mess is going to miss us to the south over the weekend coming up. But whenever you get these strong high pressure systems, especially with such warm air available, the middle of the nation, there's some real hot air that's going to be rebounding out of Texas. So there's going to be a major boundary or battle zone between this huge high pressure system over eastern Canada, major low pressure system over western Canada with snow in the Canadian Rockies. Anyhow, my point is that there's going to be a bundling of energy south of this high that is going to result in a lot of rain near the east coast, looking like it wants to miss New England to the south, with the state of Florida really taking a pounding in the rainfall department, with rainfall estimates between Florida and Bermuda in the order of 1 to 2 feet in the next 240 hours, the 10-day rainfall forecast, with New England primarily dry after today and tonight. We went around and around in that one, didn't we, Rex? Still got some green tomatoes that I'm going to be bringing indoors. And T-Rex, what's all the hubbub about? Steve, he doesn't care if it's raining, so this whole setup Steve has built for himself, it just stays dry right there, thanks to this Alberta spruce. And there's the slugs. Slugs are everywhere. All right, we're already 11 minutes. Did a Sunday brunch tour yesterday. The rocky coast of Cohasset, the sand flats of Nantasket, and a historic watering hole out in Hull. I'll leave you a few snippets of that stuff. T-Rex and I will go back inside. All right? Talk to you later. Red Lion Inn, built in 1704. Hash, Angus beef hash. Second time I've eaten hash at a restaurant that started with red in a week. Red Cottage last week, Red Lion this week. Looks like a nice house. Look at that seesaw in the front yard. That's cool. And the Cohasset Inn. It's changed. Look at that, both sides of the street. Huge construction going on here in Cohasset Harbor. Pretty sure that's where Tucker and Tico grew up, right here in Cohasset. Oh yeah, I haven't done the coastal cruise up from Cohasset to Hull in a long time. Really pretty. Not too bad of a nor'easter, really, as high barometer nor'easters go. How about that? Looks like he's got a fish. Fly fishing in the middle of the channel in Cohasset. Sunday, September 24th. Surprising there's no groundswell yet. Plenty of granite outcroppings. Looking north in Cohasset. A lot of ornamental grasses, and the Montauk daisies are beginning to bloom among the granite outcroppings. That's that bedrock that sticks out of the land. And so the Montauks are the white flowers, daisies essentially, that appear in autumn. Ornamental grass, fail. Must have been planted during the cold snap. And please, no goose poop in the yard, all right? Not to mention the leaves. Castle-esque. More Montauk daisies with red cones so you don't hit them. Talk about granite outcroppings. It almost looks like you could go surfing right on this beach. Looks like you could catch some small waves here at Black Rock Beach right now. My kind of wave. Driftway. We got one of those in Scituate, don't we? Yeah, so this is a really old neighborhood. I think we're right on the Hull side of the Hingham line. I mean, Cohasset, sorry. I love the fall decorations. Look at this old house here. This is probably almost as old as our country. And then, famous meteorologist. That's kind of funny. Hey Rob, meteorologist drive. Can you hear me now? Sustained only about 15 to 20, but it's solid. Dogs don't care how windy it is, they just want to play. What's up with those birds? Something going on down there. Don't call me the red parrot. I'm just a parrot now. Plenty of seats available upstairs and outdoors. Came this far. Might as well go back in time a little bit. Yeah, I hear you. For sure. To the museum known as Joe's Nautical Bar. Huh, never want to do that. Yeah, Patriots are driving. Do it. Number a connection while I'm making this video. Joe's Nautical and Hull. Do it. One play. Maybe not. See what I mean by museum? Like the history of Hull in here. Oh, go to Hull. That's where you're gonna find like-minded people, I'd say. Yeah. That's you. Dennis McCoy, where are you? Over there somewhere? This is really fun going through Hull. What is that up there? Is a bear on a rock on a house? On a surfboard? On a hill in the rain? That was 2 points. Both teams are trying to lose. Good job, Judon. Mac and Zach. Zach just got sacked. It's raining there, raining here. Almost time for the heat to come on inside of the house. Come on, focus. Where's the red line? There it is. 61 outside, still pretty close to 70 inside, but another day of this.